the year is 2021 and New Masters Academy is still the absolute #1 art school in the galaxy. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. I am in your mind. I am in your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, a background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about why don't people like to work hard. But first, tickle our bells and buttons over there.
Jingle, touch, please and thank you. It really helps us out.
Oh, it does. So why are we talking about this topic? Don't people work hard enough? Especially the youngs.
Well, we were talking about it today because we were talking about it in the car. It seems like we come up with a lot of these podcast topics when we're either eating breakfast or having long drives together. But
That's what they say, how the great Pixar movies were made.
Really?
On the drives back and forth. I forgot where, from I think Hollywood.
Somewhere in the Bay.
Somewhere in the Bay. Whatever.
Yeah. Wow. Well, they have...
I don't know if it's a bunch of BS, but you know, it's a lovely thing to talk about. Like, oh yeah, we came up with the idea on this drive, which is true. It's like, you know, sometimes you just listen to music and then we just chat, and then all of a sudden we came up with a podcast topic.
Sometimes your mind really wanders when you're driving for some reason. We're just talking about it because we've just noticed certain things about people we've either worked with and just stuff like that. But before we get too much into it, you're going to have a great week because you're listening to this podcast.
How great of a week?
A really, really, really good week.
And how good do they look?
You look great. You look great today.
Oh yeah.
I like your shirt.
I like your everything. Anyway.
So, Vincent.
Yes.
I think the first thing we need to establish is, do we like working hard?
No. I don't like working hard. If I had the choice, I'd love to just chill in the Bahamas and do nothing for the rest of my life. But the reason why we tend to work hard as young people now is because we badly want that when we're old people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. For me, I would say no, but it was like a hard decision, I guess I had to make. I was like, I don't like working hard, but I know I have to get what I want. And then another part of me also can't help it. Because I don't like being mediocre at anything. Like, if I decide to do something, you better be sure that I'm gonna try 100,000%. Because if I'm going to go through the effort of doing anything, I might as well do it well. That's my mentality. So there are everything, honestly, everything you've asked me to do or I've decided to do, I go a little too hard.
For example, Janet, you never really cared about plants, right?
I thought they were a waste of money.
Yeah. But when you decided one day, okay, I think it'll be better and healthier for our minds if we had more plants, you know, had to look through what was the best fertilizer, what type of plant. So I want to know the breed of plant, what's safe for the cats. Like, you have to know every single detail. What's the routine in which I have to feed these things?
It got so intense to the point where I was considering growing weed.
Marijuana.
To save money.
It's
honestly.
So profitable.
Yeah.
California is just like, everyone's like, because we're all locked in, it seems as though everyone's stoned. I can't walk very far without going,
I smell
I smell it, marijuana.
Yeah, some of that Mary Jane.
Here's some Snoop Dogg playing in the background. Like, Jesus Christ. How LA could you get?
Yeah, I saw kind of, so I calculated in my mind one time I counted the people in line, and I was like, if on average they spend they buy X amount of stuff. I was like,
killing is being made, man. Every time
a few hours.
If you drive past any of the dispensaries, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
It's hard not to run without seeing some sort of like weed bag or weed bud or like just like whatever on the ground.
Or like billboards.
Like it used to be cigarettes. You used to see cigarettes everywhere. Now you don't see cigarettes anymore. You just see pot paraphernalia everywhere.
So I was like, people are making a lot of money.
Yeah,
I mean, how hard could it be to grow some?
Actually, you looked it up. It's actually quite hard.
It's actually pretty hard.
So kudos to the people who work.
Yeah, really hustling.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Why I go too hard.
Oh yes, that's right.
I go too hard when I decide I want to do something, because so it was really hard for me to explain this prior to, I think, reading Robert Kiyosaki's book. I think he makes this metaphor in like both his books I've read, that he's like, if you're gonna do something, why do something halfway? Because you might as well go all the way. You already started doing it. And the metaphor he makes is like the people who sailed to America, or sail in general. You're sailing across the ocean to go to a different country, whatever. If you're halfway in the middle of the ocean, are you just gonna turn around and go back? No, you like probably spent months at sea. You're like gotten seasick. You struggled like through like stormy weather and whatever. Some people probably died, and you bet that you're gonna keep going.
Yeah, man.
Why would you turn around and go back? And that's how I view life in general, or anything. Because like it's we waste too much time doing anything. And if I'm gonna say yes, I'm gonna do this, whatever it is that I decide I want to do, I might as well give it
110%.
all.
I think I talked about this when my animation friends tried to get me into climbing.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I really don't want to even try, because I know I'll fall in love with this and take this so seriously.
Yeah. Too seriously.
And I took it pretty seriously.
You did.
I took it really it was the first time I ever gave a damn about a sport.
Seriously.
I mean, like the last time was like learning how to skateboard. That was different, but like as an adult, as they call it, that was the first time I was like, I want to be the best I could be. I want to go hard.
Because climbing is kind of like gamified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a video game. You go level 1 to level 10, and like reaching a different level is a milestone, and that's the thing. I knew I'd like it a lot. So if once I succumbed to it, I went with a friend to go climbing. I was like, oh, I'm hooked. This is like, I'm gonna put everything into this, and then what you need to juggle. Okay, I gotta juggle work, personal art time, exercise, that kind of stuff. But sometimes people don't even make the first step.
Yeah, I mean, this is all to say, we're not trying to flex.
No.
Like, I know what this title...
I think we did a really poor job at trying to not to flex. Let's just be definitively clear right now.
Yeah.
If we could prefer to just fuck right off, would we do it?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
But would we want to fuck off now when we're young and be chained to something when we're old?
No.
Or would we want to work really hard now so we could fuck right off when we're old?
Yes.
The latter, right? The latter. You really, like, for me, that's preferable. If I have to, give a piece of my soul to something now, then I better be able to have some sort of compensation later, which is to relax a little bit harder, I think.
I also think there's a part of me that is a little like masochistic, in that like I don't think I'm necessarily happy unless I do have something to work hard at every single day.
Yeah. We're going to talk about our college days a lot. I'm not sure if it's traumatizing for some of you. I'm not sure if it's annoying. I'm not sure if we sound pretentious or whatever. But I was thinking about this a lot. I was thinking like, I'm wondering if there are like people who are like so insecure that when we say, oh, our experiences in college or oh, back in college, they get insecure and they're like, oh, you're just flexing your college life. No. Actually, college, especially for us, was a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
It's an unforgettable experience. It's not like, the universities that go, woo, with the t-shirt and the jiggling jigglies and going like, oh, let's party. UCSB, let's go. That type of stuff. Our Art Center is unforgettable because it was very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's unforgettable in the opposite way. And most people who graduate hate it, which is why no alumni tends to donate.
No.
When I get angry when I see one of those letters.
Straight into the trash. Yeah. Straight into the trash. Haven't I given you enough?
Yeah.
I gave you so much.
A piece of my soul.
I am a different person. I'm a different person now. There are levels of my being I haven't felt since I graduated because I'm just emotionally scarred and wrecked.
You know that was it the Horcruxes in Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Well, every Art Center student, one of them is hidden somewhere in Art Center.
Has a Horcrux?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm not the same anymore. I kind of, in order to get like this powerful, I had to give up a piece of me.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna talk about how 15 minutes in the podcast we're just apologizing in advance and telling you we're not trying to flex too hard or anything.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about how hard we worked.
Well, I think now we need to define our definition of what it means to work hard.
Correct.
So when we criticize oh, why don't people like to work hard anymore? So we don't think we work hard right now. You and your job and me and YouTube.
Would you say this is the least amount of work we've had to done? Would you say, oh my gosh, would you say this is the least amount of work we've ever done since high school? I feel like I've done more work in high school, to be honest.
I feel like I did less work in animation.
Oh. Well, it feels like we did a lot because we did animation stuff on top of our own personal work.
Yeah. So I guess technically, maybe, because during animation, I would work after work.
Right. So this is the chillest we're ever taking it, to be honest.
Yeah. And what that means, though, is this is what our daily schedule kind of looks like in a week. So Monday, 6 days to Saturday, kind of, for me at least, 6 days a week. I wake up from anywhere between 4:30 to 5 a.m., depending how early we get up on some days. And we don't go back to sleep till around 9 p.m. at night. And excluding eating, self-care, and exercise, we're working for
there's
that time.
Hardly even any self-care. Self-care is just taking a very quick shower.
Bathing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say around 14 to 15 hours is dedicated to work for me. For you, that's more like 5 days a week. And then on the weekends, if I want to work more, I might work on the 7th day. I work usually at least half the day on the 7th day. But for the most part, it's kind of the same. So that's my schedule, and yours pretty much the same. All the extra time that you have is music.
Or fucking off.
Yeah.
Doing nonsense.
Yeah.
Trying to get into trouble.
Yeah. So that's our definition of not working. We don't think we work hard.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of other people, working more than 8 hours a day is considered working hard. And I think we work more than that. More than most people.
Right now or back then? Or
Right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
So you work around that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I work that much.
You don't work nearly that much.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you work, you're really in it, and if you stop, the business suffers.
Yeah. But so that's our definition of not working very hard. We're fine. We're like, just, this is our life.
Yeah.
We have some time to chill. We've
been working really, really hard to have weekends.
Yeah.
We, especially in the beginning of 2020, we didn't have weekends, man.
Yeah.
We did not have weekends, but like now we have 2 whole days.
Yeah, for the most part.
To just relax, which is just worked wonders. As you can see, we look like different people. This is pretty. Every time I look at us, it's like, whoa. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, that's just consistency for you.
Yeah.
So our definition, you might be thinking that if that's not working hard, what is working hard? So our definition of working hard is a little bit skewed because we went to Art Center in Pasadena, and both mine and your weekly schedule back then is similar, I would say. Mine's probably more intense than yours. I'll describe mine first.
Yours was suicidal.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it.
I would wake up anywhere between 6 and 7 a.m. and I probably wouldn't go to bed till around 2 a.m. every single day. Occasionally there will be all-nighters, 1 or 2 a week, depending on which week it is, like midterms, finals. I decided to take way too many classes that term or something. And then, but that's the thing is though, that does not include self-care, eating, friends and family, sleep. So I didn't sleep for the most part, and I didn't see my friends and family at all. Like, I remember one of my friends got mad at me because I just disappeared for like 4 or 5 years. Because I literally, it seems...
Kind of have to.
Yeah, you kind of have to at our school. And I got really cranky because I wasn't sleeping. Or eating well, for that, or getting extra. I had no way to relieve stress other than to cry. And then eating was, occasionally I would work so hard I'd forget to eat. So I've had fainting spells before. And then self-care, there was none. There was none. If you had the time to bathe, you were kind of lucky. Like,
some people would shower at the school.
Yeah.
I remember that. Some people would literally live in the school. I had to do it a few times. I had to wake up, sleep in the car, take a shower. Man, taking you back to some memories, huh?
God.
Taking you back to some memories, huh? In the dungeon. Ooh, baby. Making that sweet, sweet art in the dungeon.
It does not smell good at school during, like...
It smells like unhappiness.
Week 8.
You could smell a little bit of that in some of the studios.
Yeah.
It smells like unhappiness. Yeah.
Oh my god. Those were
and the
days.
showers weren't even like so you could take a shower there. They were for the people who would cycle. And or do sport. Like we have a basketball court too. Like it's just a general shower room.
Yeah.
This isn't something they encourage.
And like Art Center is a small school, so it was like a shower. For like the entire school. Like it wasn't like gym locker room showers. Like it was just like this tiny shower. I never went in there. If you are looking for some self-help books to help accomplish more things in your life, I highly recommend Loser Think by Scott Adams. And if you don't have an Audible subscription already, head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast, where you'll get a free trial of Audible. That includes a free audiobook and 2 free Audible original audiobooks, so 3 audiobooks in total. That's audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast. So that is our definition of working hard. I think it's not sustainable. You can really only do that like for 4 to 5 years before you can't.
Yeah.
Which is why most art center students do not want to live that life whatsoever after you graduate.
A lot of art center students, especially the ones that work in the industry, don't even like the social media game. They're like mercenaries. They just work, kill it, and leave.
That's why you cannot say or do anything to us that would kind of hurt us, because we're just like, I don't know, we've seen things. We've done things like, to ourselves.
If you were ever shamed on a weekly basis every day in front of your peers by a teacher you respect, I mean, like, come on. Like,
if you don't know what
you don't know what that feels like, you don't really know what pain is. Like, you think cancellation hurts? Fucking try being humiliated by your friends and the people you respect. Because that's just a Wednesday. That's just a Wednesday for us.
Yeah, like, if you haven't been pushed to the brink and, like, you literally need to cry in order to relieve the stress of, like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Like, I literally, or like you've literally never pushed yourself to the brink of fainting or fainted. I don't know. Or you've never fallen asleep on the highway.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That's like a weekly occurrence for you. You suddenly develop narcolepsy.
Yeah, I was telling you, you were telling me when you cried at school. So.
Oh.
When you cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, second term, I don't know if you guys have watched my reacting to high school, college art videos, whatever. There are certain moments when I'll look at something that I know I did, but I don't remember doing it. Or why I did it, or it's
what the assignment even was.
Yeah, it's because I was that sleep deprived and stressed out. Second term art center specifically, or was it third term? I don't remember. After accomplishing my very first semester at art center, I thought I was superhuman. I was like, yeah, I did it.
Just the first term? You mean first term?
Yeah.
Oh
like, I finished it. I was like, yes, I did it. So I got a little bit too, like, confident in my ability to work hard. So I took 5 studios, and
you took John Nguyen.
Yeah, and I took legend. So if there are young art center students out there watching right now,
please don't do what she did.
Please don't take multiple hard teachers in one semester. Yeah.
So which combos did you take?
Well, I jumbled up the terms at this point because I don't really remember.
So Design 2?
Yeah, so I took Design 2 with John Nguyen. Notoriously hard.
I didn't take him because I thought that was hard for no good reason.
Yeah. I had my materials class, which is basically shop class, except it's like
on steroids.
Yeah. It's shop on steroids because we are art center, who do like industrial design. And then a lot of figure. I think I took like Will's sketch, like an advanced Viz Dev class early.
Without taking the first Viz Dev class?
I took a lot, man. I did. I did a lot of things early that you're not really supposed to. I
did some of that, but you sounded like you took it to a next level.
Yeah, so like I took storyboarding in like 4th term.
What the hell?
Yeah, or something like that. And then I took a lot of advanced classes altogether, which you should not do that.
Okay, well, I mean, like, might as well talk about it now. I mean, it's fun. People are interested. Ooh, what are these classes? So John Nguyen, like I talked about, is a design class. a lot of it is you versus the 3D form, right? That's what
Yeah,
that class
so
is, right?
the first half of the class is basically a really heavy graphic design class.
Right.
But on top of that, you have to learn how to professionally bind a book, and you have to learn printing techniques and how to make a perfect bound book with your beautiful artwork. So you do that, and then the second half is you learn how to make a 3D object. And you learn how to like laser cut things, and you learn different materials and ways to finish a 3D object to look good. But like his standards are really high.
Yeah, man.
Like really really
Another
high.
reason why I didn't take UN 2 is because I had Claypool, and I was like, after Claypool first term, I was like, okay, that was insane.
Yeah.
As my very first like hard, so the first term, my first semester, I was like, I didn't know what a hard class was. And Claypool's class was my first like, oh man, I'm getting royally fucked every week. Like, this is hard.
Yeah, so like
so for that class where that's the class where you need to paint swatches with gouache, like perfect steps. And if you fuck up a step, you have to kind of like redo steps, because then the steps that you've done after the fuck up are as bad.
And this is like a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Like this is like he can tell the difference.
Oh yeah. Like no, there's no fucking fooling art center teachers. No. They art center teachers can just look at your thing, and when the rule of the assignment was to not take a picture, they could just look at it and go like, oh, I can see the the lens warp. You're bullshitting me.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, don't lie to me.
Don't lie to me.
So part of that class is a little bit pay to win. Because if you want to do a good job with your final at the end, you basically have to laser cut your materials to perfection, basically, and then you have to sand and wax or buff your object to perfection, or you have to bend wood properly, or you have to it's basically everything any toy designer should know if you ever want to get into toy design.
Absolutely.
Or whatever.
Yeah. If you're into 3D.
Yeah.
For sure.
3D.
Modeling,
anything.
maybe printing, anything.
Even if you wanted to have a 3D object in a gallery, it's a class you probably should take.
It's a must, yes. And then what other crazy ones did you take? That was it? That was the craziest one you took?
It's the only one I remember.
Oh, jeez.
I really don't remember anything. It's because the reason why I remember it is because it was so nightmarish.
What? I mean, there must have been another hard class. What were your painting classes?
I mean,
because second term's painting term.
I took.
Did you take David? Did you take?
Yeah, I took David Luce for, I think, comp and painting, and then
yes.
I had I had Jeff Smith for drawing concepts, and that was challenging, but for a different reason. And I had materials that, honestly, that and with the guys, I forget their names.
Right. Yeah.
They, on top of John Wynn's 3D final, was
pain in the ass.
Awful.
It was I'm
awful.
sure.
I was in the shop class like all day, every day.
Like, when do I get to draw?
Yeah, when do I? Can I stop cutting wood and sanding and like waxing and oh my god. Yeah, it was bad. And then to like sleep.
I never told my friends how hard I had it. I never told my parents too. I mean, they could see some of it when I was just like slaving over something and then like late at night. But I don't know. I never really felt like it was interesting to tell anybody how much I got fucked up at school.
Yeah.
But I mean, if any of my friends are watching, I got pretty fucked up at school. I don't want to tell anybody, but it was something else, man.
Yeah.
It was something else, and I kind of hold it in, and I don't share it with anybody, but it changed me.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a hyperbolic millennial. It truly changed me.
So that was a term where I think I got on average like 4 hours or less sleep a night, like for 14 weeks. And At first, you can bear with it for like a month.
Oh, yeah.
And then at a certain point, you hit like a wall of your willpower is not willing to go any further.
You finally understand what it's like to not have any more willpower.
Yeah.
So the reason why I asked you when you cried was I never cried in class. I cried in Bob's class doing the homework, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, thinking that like, oh my God, I have like I still have this incredible mountain to climb. Class is in 4 hours. I haven't taken care of my presentation for this thing at all. And so it looks like it's going to be a Hail Mary. I'm going to cry because I feel awful. Every fiber of my being is screaming, stop it. Just sleep. Just please stop.
Give up.
But the little that I have is telling myself I need to keep going. And then sometimes you figure out how to pull it off and sometimes you don't. And then like, it's funny, those times where I don't, it's almost like I'm numb.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like, yeah, go, give me the fucking lashing.
Yeah.
Fucking humiliate me already. There's no amount of humiliation that you can do that I haven't done to myself literally 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, I failed.
Yeah, I failed. And it's just like, you fucking just say it to my face. Like, I don't give a fuck. I know. I'm looking at that and I'm looking at everybody's work. Of course I know that I fucked up this week.
Yeah. So for me, when I say like I cried like almost every day, it wasn't like I'm upset or I'm angry, or it wasn't emotional. It was literally a way to cope with the stress.
Yeah. It's like a release.
Yeah. I would like, it would be like 7 a.m., right? I've gotten to class a little early. I'm like, okay, I barely got any sleep.
Let's cry.
Okay, yeah, I need to like, okay, I'm good.
Get over yourself.
Okay, let's do this.
Get over yourself. Yeah. Who fucking does that? Who fucking does that?
And looking back, it's a wonder why I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I did for like all the other classes. It was just a blur. That was like the first term I fell asleep on the highway, woke up and I was somewhere else. And like, it was the first time I think I fainted in the shower because I hadn't eaten and I hadn't slept and I was too stressed out, and the water was, I don't know, it just got to me. And it was the first time I just cried uncontrollably because I was too stressed out, not because I was sad. Like, that's bizarre. That's bizarre. So after that I was like, never again. Not this hard.
Not like this.
Yeah, not like this.
I'll go through any amount of hell but this.
Like, why did I do that to myself?
Like, for example, your experience at Disney, it's like it's more annoying than sad. It's just this uncomfortable period of your life that you're like, geez, if you just treated me better, I would have had an easier life.
Honestly, you know? If they had just treated me better, they'd have a really, really loyal employee.
Oh yeah. Too bad they didn't do that though.
Yeah. If the industry was just
a little bit kinder,
a little bit more about artistry and less about
sniffing their own farts,
climbing the corporate ladder drama. I don't know. If it were more just like, oh yeah, go team, let's make cool stuff, I'd probably still be working there right now. Like, it's honestly, what do you have to do to push someone like me to be like, okay, I'm just gonna go now, okay? Like, this is a waste of my time. Kind of have to do a lot, honestly.
A lot.
So yeah, that is our definition of working hard, I guess, which I think, honestly, all young people should have a time in their life where they go that hard at something.
At least once. We talked in a podcast about the pros and cons of working too hard and burning yourself out, but like, if you can do it, you can do it. You know? And I think the foundation and the routine that you lay as a young person will always be there. But the later you don't develop a system to achieve a goal, or you don't do what you say you are, or whether it's like you're a musician or you're a writer, you're not doing your thing every day, then it's like, what the fuck are you even what are you, what are you doing then?
Yeah.
And I think there comes a time in every creative person's life where they have to die for the thing. You know, that's what we call it. Like, we don't really call it sacrifice, because it's not even a deep enough sentiment. Like, it's like we will die for it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything dangerous, but it's like, that's the mentality though.
Yeah, that like you're willing to give anything and everything to this thing that you love to get as excellent or as good as possible. So like, yeah, going this hard, I think, is important to do, but maybe not like for, I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah, man.
Like, I think people should work this hard. But I'm realizing, like, a lot of people don't. A lot of people never have worked quite that hard in their lives. And we're just contemplating the reasons why, and why that is. Why do you think that is? That, like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of, I don't want to say young people or millennials or whatever, or throw anyone under the bus, just like, it just seems like people, that's not in vogue anymore.
I think it's just not in vogue. And the people who are really successful, they don't like make a big deal about how hard they work, because they know how lame that is. You know. So even though there are people, tons of YouTubers who are like, oh, I'm a self-made wealthy person because I made a video X amount of times every week. People think they just stumble upon success and that's it. And I don't know what it is. I sometimes think it's social media. I don't know what it is, because I can't say young people are distracted, because I was distracted as fuck when I was little. But I was driven, and I just I don't know why the youngsters aren't very driven. But in all honesty, I see the ones that are, though. And like, the thing is, they don't look like they're working hard, but I see them post all the time. I see them make content for everyone to enjoy all the time. And that's something. Yeah.
So like, I feel a few ways about it, especially since I've been making a lot of like helpful YouTube videos. I feel like I know how to title things to get like views and clicks and stuff like that. And I like guaranteed the videos that are titled the most clickbaity are the ones that offer or seem to offer the most shortcuts. The ones that seem to promise that like,
you don't do this, do this. This is the wrong way to do it. This is the right way to do it.
Or you'll immediately get this if you
do this.
Like,
right.
But I know that that's just a way to get people to watch. So I use it. Lots of people use it. The problem is, I think a lot of people really believe that like there are shortcuts to success. That like, what you don't see, anyone who's gotten a lot of followers, anyone who's gotten a lot of success in life, like got hired at Disney, whatever, became an athlete, an actor, whatever, they grinded really hard to get there. And on the outside, especially because of social media, I think people think that the person with success, maybe jealousy and comparison has a lot to do with it too. The person who had suddenly gained success, it's sudden to them, so they see it as like, oh, they're just special. Either, let's say it's a beautiful person, and they're like, oh, they're just naturally beautiful. Mind you, this person probably takes really good care of themselves. Like, grooming wise, exercise wise, like put in the time to make sure their appearance looks a certain way. Or maybe it's talent. Maybe they're like, oh, this person's just naturally gifted. One thing that I really hate is when people blame someone's wealth on their ability to like travel, let's say, or their ability to do anything.
Oh, for those like travel channels. Like, oh, I'm in Bangkok now.
Yeah. Or just like they blame someone being beautiful as like, oh, you're like that because you could afford plastic surgery, or you can afford this clothes, or you can afford this makeup, or you are able to travel because you are wealthy for some reason. You are independently wealthy. Or I can't do that. It's unfair. You can do this. It's not. So this weird jealousy comparison thing that's going on social media, and people oftentimes think people are overnight successes, which when I look into people, like almost 90% of the time it's not true. Like most people took a... You
looked into Pokemon and realized she has a team.
Yeah. People... Even if you think these people don't work very hard because all they do is either play video games or they're just beautiful or whatever, there's a whole lot of work
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, putting up a YouTube video is a chore. Putting it up on the internet is a chore.
Yeah, to do it right. And all these people, they know how to do it right. That's how they got successful. And they've been, most of the time, been doing it for years before they got success. And that's not just like on the internet, like the people who are visible on the internet. It's athletes, it's actors, it's artists. We had to perfect. No one is just born with like some weird God-given talent to like be amazing.
Do you think it's generational, that this affliction?
See, I think it's really a little too popular to rag on specifically millennials. Like, I don't know why people are on like the side of Gen Z more than millennials. Everyone loves to shit on millennials. But from what I've experienced and when I've seen all the people we've been around, most of the people we hang out with are like late millennials. Like we're like cusp millennials. The people below us, immediately below us, are basically like Gen Z. And everyone we know, for the most part, or at least for me, I'm speaking for myself. Most millennials I've met work very hard. And I don't know if it's like the people that I've grown up with or what, but to say like, that's why it bothers me that like people like to shit on millennials. Oh, they don't work hard. Oh, they're lazy and they're so entitled and all this stuff.
Yeah, and millennials were the first peoples to figure out how to get rich off of the internet, man.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking deal. You know, they didn't have to work for some corporation and deal with their bullshit the whole time. These are self-made youngsters.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's unfair. I think older people always rag on the younger people for the exact same thing over and over and over again. So like one day there's gonna be a new generation and us millennials are probably gonna be like, man, they're even lazier than we were. and
the Gen Xers Gen Zers the Zoomers are gonna be like, what the hell, they're so lazy.
Yeah.
I was talking to my brother too, and he was like, we were talking about when Kanye came out with what was that album I hate? Pablo Honey. Well, not Pablo Honey. Life of Pablo.
Yeah.
Pablo Honey's a Radiohead album. But yeah, when Kanye came out with Life of Pablo, it was a whole big movement. That's when Kanye came out with the whole fashion line and everything. And then that's when I said like all of this stuff past that, you know, like, and then there was trap and all this stuff. I was like, I wasn't down for it, but my brother was. But my brother's telling me now that there's a whole new generation of music that he can't get into, that he thinks is just stupid as fuck. And then he said it came from TikTok.
Oh,
and I'm
okay.
like, oh, see, this is like the Instagram generation and maybe Twitter like that the old ilk, the Snapchat generation. There we go. Snapchat generation chagrining the fucking TikTok kids. And I'm just like, little brother, you are becoming an adult. You are going to hate the youngsters for every fiber of your being. Like I can see it already.
It's like a early Gen Zer not understanding later Gen Z. Like it's a difference of like 5 years.
Yeah, and it's already, he's like, what's going on? What's happening? Just like when I was like, this isn't rap, this isn't, like, because the rap that we used to listen to is like so passe now to the kids.
It's almost like
Jay-Z and Eminem. It's like, that's like bullshit. It's like, ew, rap, what is that? What's that old people rap? What is that?
When they have like a hook.
Yeah, like what? Hooks?
What?
Where's the
yeah?
And the where's the sprinklers? Where's the sprinklers?
Oh my god. So I want to point out especially like where I went to college, again, it's really intense. Where I went to high school even, really intense. So like, I don't know how many people will know this, but like Mirai Nagasu is an Olympic figure skater who won gold. She came from my high school. Like she was a sophomore when I was a senior. So like literally you can't simultaneously say like millennials are lazy. Meanwhile, there are a bunch of millennials at the Olympics weren't winning, like working their butt off. That like people like us and everyone who we went to school with, working our butt off to the point of like we put ourselves at risk, major risk, to get good. And so like to say that. I really don't think it's a generational thing. I think it's unfair to say that. Because, I don't know, I've met some lazy people of all ages. Young and old. So, I don't know, it's just unfair, I think. People are always going to point the blame at a generation or whatever.
Yeah, man. I didn't know there was animosity between generations until after I graduated college. I thought it was ridiculous. I was listening to fucking NPR and they're talking about like what I heard the word millennial used for the first time in the context of whatever it was, and then I did, they kind of briefly explained it, and then I did the math and I was like, oh wait, I guess I'm one of these things. I'm a millennial, I guess. And then all of a sudden there's like all this like shit talking of like people my age, and I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. It's like people really love to find differences in each other and just criticize them. It's so interesting because I never even knew that was a thing. I always understood that old people always look down on young people because they didn't have it like they did, and then the young people become old people, and then they look down on the new young people and go, you didn't have it like I did. It's just like, it's just a cycle. But that was the first time I'm just like, oh, people just kind of hate me just because of like, not even for the color of my skin, not even for anything, the way I look, the way I dress. It's my age. And it's just like, oh, so I just can't win. I'll just like walk around and like random people are just like, fuck you, bro. Dumb fucking millennial. So don't even fucking look at me. I don't want your fucking lazy ass fucking jeans. Get it out there. Yeah, gross, millennial bullshit. Yeah.
Also, I think it's funny because like I remember like a conversation of like we had like this weird diversity thing that you have to do like every single year in animation, and the Disney one is voiced by Mark Hamill for some reason.
Mark Hamill's like telling a bunch of Disney drones, don't be racist.
Yeah, basically.
Don't make us look bad. Basically, don't make us look bad.
I'm just like, don't you have better stuff to do than voice an HR webinar?
He got paid though.
But it had a whole section on like ageism, and ageism is always like talked about in like the reverse of what we're talking about, and like it's old people who get ageism usually, and I see it like with my parents and my grandparents and stuff like that. It's like you have to be a certain age to get there. So like it kind of sucks that like the opposite is happening like crazy. Like me especially, everyone gets my age wrong. And I guess I don't blame you. I'd probably get
You look
my
like a
age
little
wrong.
ass girl.
And yeah, and I sound I'm unlucky that way, I guess, or maybe lucky, depending how you see it. But I get that a lot. Sometimes it's good. I mean, depending on how you want to look at it in terms of good. So like sometimes people will assume I'm like 20 or younger. And then they'll assume I don't know how to do anything. So they'll go like, oh, honey, let me help you with that. Let me do that for you. Usually, actually, no, both men and women will do that. They'll be like, oh, this little girl doesn't know. I don't want her to mess up anything. Let's just do it for her. And I can just like stand by and be like, okay. I don't have to lift a finger. Other times it's more like, you young person, you're lazy, you're that, you're this, we're not gonna hire you because we don't. I mean, imagine I chose the career of a doctor. No one would trust me because I look like a little girl.
She's gonna perform my kidney surgery? No way.
No way, yeah. So, yeah, ageism. It exists in the opposite
world.
way, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever, though.
Yeah, whatever. There are different aspects of the word burnout that I want to talk about, or fatigue, or just you're tired. So I think this all has to do with like how much you love something, how much you're passionate about something,
how much you're gonna die for your art.
Yeah. And when we were at Art Center, I loved this thing. I loved animation. I loved VizDev. I loved storyboarding.
You also love the suffering too.
Yeah, in a
sick
way.
way.
In a sick way. And like because you love it so much, I think you're willing to go so hard. And that level of going hard doesn't come without burnout or fatigue. Still, even if you love something to death like that. But that, I would say, like, was cured by, like, the breaks in between terms. Like, we get, like, 2 or 3 weeks of break in between. And during that time, I literally just slept. Like, for at least a week and a half. That's all I did. I'd sleep all day. And then once I'm done with my 2-3 week break, I could come back to school no problem. I wouldn't necessarily call that burnout. I think you literally worked yourself till you needed sleep.
It's like recharging your batteries, right?
Yeah. But then the kind of fatigue that I had when I was at Disney, after working for a while in the industry, there was no amount of vacation or sleep. Because it wasn't like I wasn't sleeping. It wasn't like I was tired, but it felt like I was tired. It felt like I was just as tired as I was at an art center, and it didn't make sense to me, which is why I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I know what hard work looks like. I've done that before, and I'm not doing that now while I was working at Disney.
But why do I feel the effects that I do when I work hard?
And no matter how much I sleep, no matter how much I take care of myself, no matter how much I don't know, maybe you have like a week off for like winter break or something. They give you a week off. It didn't help. It didn't help anything. So it's not the same kind of burnout. And I think that is when you have to ask yourself, do you love this thing as much as you used to? Do you love this thing anymore, even? Because, it took, from the minute I started art school, and even before that, to, that point, 5-ish years later, so I want to say, 8-9 years, for me to finally get to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I love this thing enough to work this hard, because I'm feeling a different level of burnout that I've never really felt before, and one that doesn't feel curable
unless you leave.
Yeah. So no, especially with how hard I'm working now, I think every amount of effort I would spend on our Honey and Absinthe and my personal art and making money in our side hustle, it felt like it would make going back to work worse. It really would. It would feel like I'm wasting my time, most of my life in this job that drains me. Like, and yet, like, when I work on my other thing, it gives me life.
You life, right? Yeah. Like when we would do conventions, that was what we really, really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember bringing this up because we were talking about how there are so many people who work in animation who do this at the same time, where I'm sure they quit. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they didn't even quit their jobs. They quit doing YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Because I noticed, I love, they call it the Dawless community. Mm-hmm. It's the people who love to make music with synths and all sorts of machines and the whole ethos is like, we make music without computers. Like, I don't want to make music with looking in front of a computer. And I was just really, really attracted to that. But there were some YouTubers that I followed who kind of had to, these small ones, like 1,000, just because I liked watching them use the products and stuff. Mm-hmm. They would go like, I'm going to take a little bit of a hiatus, work picked up back again, and I have to focus on work again. All right, mm-hmm. See ya, bye, peace. And I was like, if this is happening to you, wouldn't be surprised if it happened in people animation.
Yeah.
Because like I really thought I would look at these people in animation and I would look and see about look how many followers and they have, and then see the way they carry themselves in the YouTube videos and be like, you're not doing this because you want a career in YouTube. Mm-hmm. You're doing this for the fucking vanity. Yeah. You're doing this because you like your ego's getting stroked. You like this because you like a bunch of kids like looking up to you, as if that fucking matters at the end of the day. Your fucking squad or your fucking fam or whatever the fuck you call it. It's all a bunch of bullshit. Because I know they all did it for vanity, I'm sure a lot of them stopped. I'm sure a lot of them stopped. And like, I don't know, like you and I,
we don't keep.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, I could imagine you doing this at the same time with work. Because we've done conventions while we worked. Yeah. That was hard. Yeah. This is different. Yeah. This is a different level of hard. This is like, we made good money doing conventions without, all of this craziness of being so like on the social medias and talking to random strangers and all that stuff. This is weird and it's different and it's difficult in its own way. And I wouldn't be surprised if people, and the thing that shocks me too is like some of these people have like I don't know, what is it, like millions of followers and shit, and it's just like, bro, like dude, you went back to animation? Were you a fucking idiot? like you understand there are brands in San Francisco, like Silicon Valley, like there are brands, there are design brands, there are YouTube brands, like there are like internet brands that would kill to have the market share, the demographics that you have, but you clearly don't know how to fucking monetize it. You clearly were doing YouTube for the fame, and you clearly can't do jack shit outside of the industry. So you go crawling back to mommy and daddy industry, sucking on that fucking teat of the industry. You never, it's shocking to me because it's just like, oh, you don't want freedom. You never wanted freedom. You don't want to create. You don't want to fucking get vulnerable, put yourself fucking out there and actually make some motherfucking art. You were just doing it for the fucking ego stroke this whole time. Yeah. And to me, that is just ridiculous, because it's like, my God, imagine Vincent van Gogh with 500 million followers. Like what he would have done. He did everything to be liked. Yeah. And that motherfucker didn't get 500 million followers, 500,000 followers, a million followers, and he died. He fucking died. And no one fucking loved him. And he died not knowing that he would be fucking huge long after he's dead. And you motherfucker, you have the potential, but you squander it. So it's just like, I just don't get it. I just don't get why people like don't understand what they have in front of them and they rather work in animation. Like, I just don't get it. Like pretty soon you are going to make more money than any of the people in animation. And then what then? Like, what can the school and like all these like online schools say then? It's like, do you want to be like us working for fucking Hollywood? Or do you want to be like Janet, doing wherever the fuck she wants with her fucking life?
Do what I want.
Yeah.
And work hard at doing that.
Yeah. And enjoying life, taking it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Not chasing the trends, just like slowly building,
just like,
piece by piece.
I'm gonna like pursue the thing I want to do. I think
so sorry for the rant, but it was just like, as someone who would love to just like fuck right off with you, move to like Vegas where there's like no income tax, and just live.
Yeah.
Like, seeing people choose animation over really figuring out how to be free, like how to retire at a young age, is just, again, how deep and fucked up the brainwashing is. It's so deep. It's so fucking deep. The brainwashing is so deep.
There's a lot of social pressure.
Yeah.
On
yeah, man.
either side, I guess. The social pressure to stick to Hollywood and to have that job title is similar to, I would say, like, the reason why people like having to be called like doctor or that PhD degree or stuff like that. It's
the status.
Yeah.
The accreditation. We talked about this, yeah.
But then I think even on the other side, there's criticism for like the people who choose to do social media and YouTube for all the wrong reasons, for the social currency, for all that stuff. If you do that, you are also very prone to burnout, because if you're doing things for the wrong reason and you don't like, your reason for doing it isn't strong enough, then the amount of work you have to do that thing is going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to fatigue. Yeah. So like, if you're in Hollywood for that title, to say I worked on this, or that job title, whatever, but you're not really doing it for the love of the thing, 9 times out of 10
you will suffer.
Most of these people, I was like unhappy.
Yeah.
And the
happiest people I notice, especially from the old timers, are the people who love the thing a lot, who love the creation of the thing, who literally will play ball and do the office politics because they love it that much, because they're willing to just do whatever needs to be done because they want to be in that space where they get to create a world. Yeah. And like, that is crazy, man. That is love.
Yeah.
You know?
And same goes for like YouTubers or creators, I'd rather call them.
You're willing to, get shamed or canceled or get, called every name in the book because that, like, you putting yourself out there is what you want to do. Yeah.
The ones that, succumb to the pressure of the mob coming for you, or bend the knee or apologize at every single thing someone is offended by that of you did something wrong. What is it this time? At this point, like, you literally can do anything, and someone will be. I could just say something dumb, like literally not offensive, just dumb. Like, I made a dumb statement, and someone will get offended. Someone. Guaranteed. Even if it's as simple as, like, I like chocolate. Like, how dare you like chocolate? I don't know. Someone will. And, like, if you're too obsessed with like what other people are thinking of you, and that's the reason why you became a doctor, you started working in Hollywood, you did whatever, you love the validation of getting likes and views and whatever. I really think that all of that leads to burnout. All of that leads to fatigue. So the entire reason for this podcast was, I honestly just wanted to encourage people to work hard. And I think the true origin of the reason why people don't work hard is because of ego. I think if you narrow down it truly, like all these reasons, I think it's like people think they're fine. People think they're perfectly fine where they are. Whether it's true or not, like everyone has complaints about their lives. Whether they want to lose weight, they want to get in a relationship but they can't find a date, or
they want that job,
whatever. They'll have complaint like, why aren't I getting that job? I'm good enough. It's always that. It's always like, I'm fine. Like I'm good. I'm enough. Why is it not coming to me? Same thing with like losing weight. Like people will be like, oh, they won't blame the being tired all the time on like, maybe you let yourself go a little bit too much during quarantine. Maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe it'll help to exercise a little bit, make yourself feel better about, like, be happy with the way you look. And stuff like that. Is everyone will blame other things instead of just being humble, being like, I have a lot of growing to do. Instead of like, why aren't I getting that job? Like instead of at a certain point, there's no use whining about it, complaining about it, obsessing over it, because it's not going to get you that job at the end of the day. It's just heartache that you're obsessing over. Instead, use that energy to like be so good they can't ignore you, or I don't know.
Yeah, I love that strategy. Be so good that they can't ignore you. Because at the end of the day, there's no one you're gonna placate. There's no one that you're gonna have to like just suck up to. You're just good, and people will fear you, and it's simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, that's as simple as it's gonna be.
And so I really think people need to like humble themselves, and that like this is us included. Like I tell myself,
we tell ours every day. There's not a single day that goes by where I go like, oh, I'm really great at this, or I'm like, I made it because I work in Hollywood and I work in this TV show. Like, no.
Yeah.
I consider myself the most basic civilian ever.
Yeah.
I am not a celebrity. I am not better than anyone.
Yeah.
I am just a grain of sand.
We're always fighting against that tendency, though, of like
because
that way.
Because like, you know, I drive up and then there's the logo for the studio, and it's just like, whoa, isn't this crazy? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's just like, we all know, everyone I work with knows it's a job.
So for me, I'm always just like, in order for the pursuit of getting better, to always be growing, to always be learning, I'm always like checking myself. Mm-hmm. Like, your ego's getting a little big today. You need to like take a chill.
There was a great, you follow these two violinists or something, like concert musicians.
Yeah.
And then they were doing a Q&A, and someone asked them, how do you stay humble? Because you two are obviously so talented.
Yeah, because they went to like, I don't think they went to Juilliard, but some
crazy place.
Yeah, they went to their like concert pianists. Violinists. And they simply said they watch YouTube videos of 10-year-old prodigies. That's the quickest way to humble yourself. So yeah, if every time you think you're not shit, you think you're good, there's a little 10-year-old Asian person somewhere halfway across the country that's better than you.
Oh yeah. Whenever I think like, oh, I'm God's greatest gift on the planet, because I'm such a like, oh, I do things. I work in crazy big places. I watch like a Derek's Trucks video or something. I watch like his performance in the Tedeschi Trucks Band and the NPR Tiny Desk Music thing, and I just go like, oh yeah, that's raw talent. Me, I am just a grain of sand.
Just a normal human.
My talent level is like 15% of Derek Trucks is like 97.
Yeah.
You know, that's like pure gold. That's someone who, like, I don't know, like Derek. There's a video of him playing Layla when he's 7 years old or some shit like that. That's like, we talked about. Did we talk about people who are just people who think people are naturally gifted? Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Who are naturally beautiful and stuff. We did talk about that, and I wanted to talk about people who are like really, really talented, and it just makes sense to me because if you look into the history of the Trucks and the Allman family, they're a musician family. And I would talk about this with my guitar teacher all the time. There are people who just picked up jazz as a 5 or 6 year old because it was around the house. And like, I mean, that's the kind of advantage that I can accept. You know, I can't accept like some sort of like, oh, all of a sudden this person's some weird genius. There's just simply advantages to growing up in a household that promotes creativity, it promotes art and all that stuff.
There's literally I forgot his name, but I think he was like a psychologist or something or other. He wanted to have children who became chess grandmasters, and he literally got married and had children for that purpose. He came up with this idea first, and then he got married.
Wow.
Like, he was like, I need a wife. I need to do this weird experiment on my own children. And he basically was like, I am going to fill the space with chess books. They're only gonna learn about chess. They're basically their whole entire lives are going to revolve around chess. And his first daughter became like a grandmaster, I think like really young, like 14 or something like that. And then his second daughter became one even younger, I think. And then her, like, they both broke the world record or something like that. And the interesting thing about that is, like, it wasn't like a weird tiger mom, tiger dad experience at all, because when they talk about their upbringing, they were like, oh no, we loved it. We love chess. Like, we grew up with it and we wanted to play it all the time.
And it seems like it was a positive force in the household. Yeah. It's not like this thing like Michael Jackson's dad. Oh, yeah. You will perform it again and again and again and again and again. It's not like that. It's just like, oh, hey, chess, they probably talk in chess. They probably make chess cakes and cookies. And it's just like, it's just a positive force in a young person's life, and that's why they become who they are.
So growing up, I knew families who had basically generations of doctors. I think if your parents are doctors, it's just that much easier for you. And then as artists, like, we know people, like, their family of artists. Like, it's not like they force them to become an artist. It's just
it runs in the family. Like, we know a few people from art school who have family members who are artists, and they are just unbelievably talented.
Yeah. And then the same with the movie business. It's like, if you were if your family was in the movie business, you have, in a way, a leg up, not necessarily because of the connections, though there's that, but also because, like, was it Chazelle? Damien Chazelle. Yes. He talks about how he grew up watching French movies.
Because his parents forced him to, it
seemed.
Yeah,
like the greats. So it just seemed like, oh, that makes a lot of sense why you are so young and can direct the way you do. So there's that. But that doesn't also mean, like, they didn't work really hard to get there. Like, your family can only do so much to, like someone, a musician families just grow up being really good at music. All this talk of humbleness, I want to point out to you, especially for artists, the opposite can be true too, where people can be a little too humble. A little too, like, oh, I'm nothing, don't look at me, don't look at me.
Don't even look at me. And then they truly become invisible.
Yeah.
And they never become hired.
Yeah.
Because of that. And, like, you know, every artist has the tale of like, I'm a shy person and here's why. Like I have that too. But unfortunately, in most cases in life, you have to put yourself out there or else you'll just disappear into the background, right?
Yeah. And this, the way we like to think about it is taken from Scott Adams' book, Loser Think, where he says ego is a tool. For yourself and your own self-growth, you want to temper your ego and be humble for yourself. But
when you're in a like a job interview,
right? A negotiation setting, it behooves you to turn it up a few dials, to like turn up that ego, to be more confident, to I mean, if you have to, be a little bit of an asshole, because it conveys a certain amount of confidence, because it will help you if you think of ego that way, of like, turn it down when it helps you, turn it up when it helps you. It's not good or bad, it just is a thing you deal with in your life.
And for today's recommendation, I want to recommend a YouTube channel. Everyone watching, go to Jade Wee's channel and subscribe to her channel. I have been a big fan of Jade Wee for the past like 5 months, ever since I got into like just fun electronic music and synth and stuff. And she's really great. She it's really awesome because she started off just doing, I think she's fairly recent at this, like 3 years or something like that. But like, you know, it's nice to see people who have like no set and like just a rinky-dink camera, just trying to do their best reviewing stuff. And then now her setup looks great. Her videos look really professional. She had this fantastic video about vintage cute Casio keyboards that like are very, very cheap but are starting to become collectible items. Janet doesn't know this, but I'm going to go over the weekend to pick up a Casio VL1, I think. So be excited, everybody. I can already feel Janet's overbearing stare peering into my soul, and it hurts a lot. Really excited. Just $65 though, so I hope she's not too mad, but it's gonna be fine. Anyway, follow Jade Wee's channel. She's great. Her gear reviews are really cute. That Casio keyboard review is really, really cute. But yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Follow us at Honey and Absinthe in all of our social medias. Yeah, and tickle our bells and buttons and leave a comment down below. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.